What up YouTube, it's Gamer91 here, and today I'm going to be breaking down the trades that occurred on trade deadline day today. So this video might be a few hours late because trade deadline did end 3 p.m. Eastern time, and right now I'm making this video at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So I'm going to be breaking down the main trades that happened today. So first, let's start with David Legwand getting traded to the Red Wings, and the Predators received Patrick Eves, Kale Yarnrock, I don't know how to pronounce his name properly, and a 2014 conditional third-round draft pick. So Legwand can help the Red Wings out very much, especially with Zetterberg's injury. He can easily fill the role of second-line power play forward and also second-line center. Probably second-line center. He might even be moved up to first-line power play, power play forward, depending on how he does. And also, Nashville receives Patrick Eves, and Eves is a fast skater who could be used on the wing. He can be used either wing, but I'm pretty sure they want to use him on the right, his natural position. And Yarnock, I'm not really sure about. And also the third-round draft pick, I don't know what the condition is. So for that one, I don't actually know what the condition is. But next is Lee Stempniak getting traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins. So Stempniak is also a pretty solid player. He's a player who can fly under the radar, but I had a fantasy hockey league, and I picked him up, and he has been a stud. So he's actually a really solid player. What did they get back? They got back a third-round draft pick. So the third-round draft pick can actually help out a lot. And the reason I'm saying that is because for the Flames, they are clearly in the rebuilding stage. There's no doubt right now. They're definitely rebuilding. And so a third-round draft pick, personally, I think anything from the first to the third round can like that kind of a pick can easily turn into not a star, but always an NHL player that's useful. So that can mean third line checker or first line forward, depending on how you develop and who you pick. And so next trade is Honor Mazzaro's getting traded to the Boston Bruins. So the Bruins, I thought, had a solid defensive core. They got obviously the big Slovakians, Zdeno Chara, and then next would be Dennis Seidenberg, who again also a really solid player, right? But my favorite defenseman on that team, because he's younger, is Dougie Hamilton. If you don't know who he is, I'm assuming most people would, but he's a young up and coming defenseman who is really good. And I actually don't know the defensive pairings, but I would pair Mazzaros and Hamilton together personally, and then keep Chara and Seidenberg together. But again, I don't actually know their defensive pairings that well. And next that's the next big trade here. Timmy Thomas getting traded to the Dallas Stars for Dan Ellis. So this trade, it wasn't a big trade. The only reason I'm going over is because it is Tim Thomas, one of the better goaltenders to play in this decade. Pretty much this was like a switch and swap kind of thing. Like no one really got anything they really needed. Tim Thomas is a solid goaltender. He'll be backing up Carly Letton in Dallas now, and with Luongo, and is also with who else is there in Florida? Now Dan Ellis, Scotty Clemenson. They have a solid amount of goalies who can all rotate if someone's off. And next trade is Matt Moulson to the Minnesota Wild. So Matt Moulson, I have him on my team. As you can see in this gameplay that I'm showing here, Matt Moulson is one of my favorite players. He's a solid player who is good offensively, but also can be aggressive when needed, and when he kind of feels like, I guess you could say. He's not always the most aggressive player. I mean, he's an offensive sniper, obviously, so he's not expected to be a huge defensive guy, but I think his two-way game is really solid. And then they also have Cody McCormick, who is just a depth or forward or a fourth line center. And he's a checker for sure. And then they get the Sabres got back Torrey Mitchell and two second round draft picks, one 2014, one 2016. They are not conditional, so this is going to be good for the Sabres because they've stockpiled draft picks. If you've been keeping track with sorry, still a little sick. The Panthers, the Buffalo Sabres. They've traded Ryan Miller to the St. Louis Blues, and they also received a first and second round pick for that. And now they got 2 seconds back from Matt Moulson. So Sabres also are in the rebuilding stage. Okay, what is next? So Marian Gaborik, he was one of the main players targeted in trade deadline talk last year, and this season I did not expect him to get traded. But after trading Rick Nash for him. The Blue Jackets have pretty much just given him away again. They got back Matt Fratton, who is, again, he to me is a good player, and he's still young. He can develop to me into a second line solid winger. He reminds me a little bit of Zach Parise. Of course, he's not going to be as good of a scorer because Parise is one of the top scorers in the league, right? But he's, to me, is very similar to that kind of a player. But he's better two-way, I think, than Parise. So who is next? Marcel Goc to the Penguins. That's not a huge trade, but it could be beneficial because Goc will be the third line center, and this can be beneficial for the Penguins because now they got, like, if Crosby or Malkin are ever injured, they got a guy who can step in there, and he's a really good two-way forward. And Florida receives a 5th and 3rd round draft pick, so they got back a couple picks, which aren't going to be a huge help to them, but I mean, picks can always have the possibility to turn into a legitimate NHL contributor. So next, Yaroslav Halak and a 3rd round pick to the Capitals, and the Capitals give up Michael Neuvert, Rodislav Klesla, and that's the trade. So the Capitals get Yaroslav Halak. I like this trade for the Capitals more than I like it for the Sabres. But at the same time, to me, this is one of the most fair trades I've seen. I think personally, Halak, of course, like elite goaltender, I would say. He's one of the top. I think I would rank him top 7 in the league right now, considering the goalies that are playing in the league. How much talent is there? Top 7 is a pretty good ranking. And a 3rd round pick also, again, picks can always turn to legit players, right? So then Michael Neuvert is a younger goaltender. I believe he's 25, 26. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but he's a solid goaltender who just needs to get his footing down. He needs to get a good streak of wins going to build his confidence, and that can help out the Sabres in the future as well as Neuvert in the future. So this is beneficial to both Neuvert and to the Sabres, I think. And Klesla is one of those defensemen that he's very versatile. He can play left side or right side, and I think he'll be on their first line with Christian Ehrhoff. I think that's what they're going to end up doing. So the next trade coming up is the Doob, Devin Dubnyk, who was actually traded for earlier in the season, and he got traded to the Canadiens, Montreal. And so he is going to be backing up Price, most likely, but what I heard that he got sent down to AHL, so maybe they're trying to give him kind of like a rebirth almost, like give him a chance to prove himself to be a legitimate goaltender in AHL and see if he can work his way back up to the backup position. And I think personally they got Dubnyk just as trade bait. If any team needs him during the draft in July, I mean, Dubnyk can play I mean, of course he can play goalie, but he can start on a lot of teams because a lot of teams don't have a lot of goaltending talent. Honestly, Vancouver, I am from Vancouver. I'm not going to lie, even we could use someone like Dubnyk. I still think Lack, though, is a good player, but yeah, I'm getting off topic right now. Let's go to the next trade. So Martin St. Louis got traded to New York for Captain Callahan, as well as a 1st and a 2nd round pick, I believe. Yep. The 2015 1st round pick is conditional, though. And I think Tampa got a way better deal than this. They got a 1st and a 2nd round pick for their... I would consider him to be kind of like the franchise. So now Stammer's going to be taking that over, but until the whole time that Stammer wasn't there, St. Louis was Tampa Bay. Him, Vinny Lecavalier, they were solid on that team. But then again, also Tampa Bay gets Callahan back, who I believe is 28. 28. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 28. So again, comment if I am wrong, but he has to sign a new contract. His cap hit this season is $4.275 million, I think, which is not bad considering he'll get you about 45, 50 points, I think, like consistent 20 goal scorer. But his extension, he wanted $6.15 or $6.25 million. I think that is too much to pay for him personally. 6.25 for a 50-point scorer. Someone like what's his name? Gabrick is making like 7. So do you honestly think that Callahan, who's a great leader, no doubt about that, but is worth $6.25 million? $6.25 million he won his 6 seasons as well, so that's like 37.5 million over 6 seasons you're gonna give to a 50-point scorer. I don't think it's worth it. Next is Tomo Rutu getting traded to the New Jersey Devils. Tomo Rutu, solid two-way player. He is also. I also have him in Hut a lot. Again, even though Hut's a video game, I understand that. Most people know that, obviously. Solid player. I think he could have gone to other teams. I think Rutu would have been a good fit in Vancouver because Vancouver, that's the kind of game Torts likes to play. And again, like I told you, I am from Vancouver, and that's the reason I'm going to be making a lot more Vancouver comments. But I think Rutu would have been very beneficial for our team to have. Next, Ales Hemsky going to Ottawa Senators. So Hemsky was a very still is a good player, but before he was really good. He's still really speedy, which is a really good component to have in the NHL today because everyone's getting bigger, stronger, faster, and so I think Hemsky getting out of Edmonton will be beneficial for his career. This will be his huge bounce back season. I project him I don't know how many years and how long he has left on his contract, but if he stays on this team for like even next season, so just one season, I think he'll be rejuvenated. I think he'll have like a 65, 70 point season. I'm not gonna lie. On Ottawa, if they put him on, see they have Milan Mahalik, sorry. So first line, do you think first line? I think second line, but Hemsky's one of those guys that could be on the first power play, and they can kind of just see who fits better with Spezza and Ryan. I would personally put Hemsky on the first line just because of speed. That's my personal decision. And next, we got Marty Erat and Johnny Mitchell getting traded to the Capitals for Klesla and Chris Brown. Not the Rihanna beater, but still an NHL player. Chris Brown and who is the other guy? Oh, it's a draft pick, sorry. So they get a fourth round draft pick in 2015, which is pretty. I don't know. I like Marty Erat. I think he had a bad season, so I will say that he did not have a good season at all. And I heard from rumors that he just really wanted out of Washington, was not happy at all. But he has a big contract too. So if some people don't know his contract, I believe it's $5.5 million. If I'm not 100, I'm not correct, just comment because I might be way off on this, but I'm pretty sure he signed a big contract. I think 6 years, $30.5 million with the Preds. So, I mean, I think this is a good trade for Phoenix. They get a player who's proven and a veteran, and Phoenix I think they're on their way up. So, Bobby Lou, how do you do? Back to your hometown of Florida. And then Steven Anthony, who's just a random guy, just kind of filler. And they get back, the Canucks, my home team, they get back Markstrom and Matthias. So, Bobby Lou's an end of an era, 8 seasons. And he's gone. It's going to be weird because I only started watching hockey when I was, how old was that? I'm 17 now. When I was 12, I started watching hockey. Yeah, it's pretty late for a Canadian, right? But, yeah, when I was 12. So every season that I've seen the Canucks play, they've had Bobby Lou. And it's just kind of weird not having him now. And the beginning of the season, they traded away Vigneault. And again, Vigneault was there when I started watching it. It's just odd seeing players that well, not players, but generally just people that you associate with a certain thing just being gone all of a sudden. It's like your teacher all your teachers just leaving, get a new teacher. It's just kind of weird. Like, I know people don't really want their teacher to stay a lot of the time, but it still is a little different. But I personally think that Florida made a horrible trade. Not to say that Vancouver got a great trade out of this. I'm saying this because Florida is clearly in the rebuild stage. What do they expect to do with Bobby Lou right now? He's just going to be I think personally that they just wanted him to end his career in Florida because he was one of their better goaltenders, like possibly their best goaltender. I mean, if I was Florida, I don't know, I'd kind of fire the GM. This is a good trade for a good player. That's no doubt. But the way what their team should be doing right now, I don't think it's very good personally. That's just a personal thought though. And Markstrom, I think he's a solid young goaltender who just needs like a couple more seasons. Sorry. And he will be one of the better goaltenders. So this is the first half of my trade deadline breakdown. I'll have my second one up later today. So thanks, guys. I know it's a little long, but that's why I'm ending it. So like, if this helped you, comment on what you think happened with the trades this season. Do you think they're good? Do you think they're bad? And subscribe for more, guys. Thanks. Peace.